There's a certain chaos to Palladian Terrazzo. You don't just pour it, you smash it into existence. Born from ancient techniques and revived by modern boldness, Palladian Terrazzo is raw, sculptural, and unapologetically loud. It traces its roots back to 16th century Italy, wherever leftover marble from quarries was broken into irregular fragments and pressed into lime mortar floors. A working class solution that became timeless design. Today, we honor that tradition, not by mimicking perfection, but by leaning into imperfection. This is the story of a floor that doesn't blend in. This is Palladian Terrazzo. But how do you actually make a floor like this? It starts with raw stone and a sledgehammer. From structural prep to layout, mortar and polish, every step matters, and every choice shapes the final look. So let's break it down, literally. It all starts in the planning phase, because when you're building over a wood frame floor, crack control becomes critical. This project began with a 3/4 inch plywood subfloor installed over TGI joists, topped with a 1.5 inch concrete layer that encapsulates a hydronic radiant heating system. From there, we installed an uncoupling membrane, essential in this kind of assembly to isolate movement and prevent cracks from telegraphing up into the finished layer. Here's where it gets super nerdy, because the surrounding hardwood had to sit flush with the Palladian Terrazzo. Everything had to be dialed in. We had to hit the exact height, matching the hardwood, elevator interior, and even the stair nosing, or risk failing code. Not something you want to mess around with at the end. In other words, we weren't just prepping a floor, we were laying the groundwork for the chaos to come. Breaking the soft Vancouver Island marble wasn't as simple as you'd think. We tested it all. Slab drops, sledgehammers, even tapping with a rubber mallet. Dropping the slabs gave us sharp, angular pieces that were too aggressive, but standing them on edge and coaxing them with the soft mallet, that gave us control, clean fissures and natural lines. Once we had manageable chunks, we sorted them by shape and size, big anchor pieces, smaller fills, curves, and corners. Now here's the part I didn't expect, but should have. As the owner and founder of Stone Design, this all started for me with mosaics and art. I've created mosaics for decades, and that's exactly what Palladian Terrazzo is. Mosaic laid dry on the floor, then backboard and treated like terrazzo. I knew the layout would be personal. I knew it would be a taste thing, a personal taste. You can't predict it. So I did something sneaky. I asked one of my summer students to lay out a section right beside mine, but didn't tell the homeowners who did which. Sure enough, they picked theirs, not mine. All ego aside, mine was too refined and too deliberate. The summer students' layout had something better: roughness, boldness, and a bit of chaos. That's Palladian Terrazzo. Less about perfection, more about personality. With the aesthetic locked and the pieces sorted, it was time to set the floor. We used a 1/8 inch notch trowel and a high-performance mortar to adhere each marble fragment. Since each section had been dry fitted ahead of time, we usually snapped a photo first, like a cheat sheet, before lifting it up and locking it in. And here's where the real craft comes in. The flatter the pieces are set next to one another, the easier the grinding is later. The step isn't fast, but it saves you hours down the road. We took extra care on the edges, cutting around the floor vents and shaping outside corners for a clean, intentional look. This is when it starts coming alive. Still raw, but you can see it coming to life. With the marble set into place, it was time to fill the voids, to tie it all together. We used a color-matched concrete blend, selected straight from a Benjamin Moore swatch the designer loved. Custom and intentional. To keep the aesthetic cohesive, we used marble sand, blending it back into the mix. The backfill is poured high. It looks messy, even crude at this stage, but once it cures and we grind it down flush, that chaos becomes clarity. It's the moment where separate pieces become one surface. After the grout is cured, we begin the grind. Coarse metal bond diamonds take the floor down, marble, matrix, everything. If you're thinking of DIYing this is where the real challenge begins. The good news, marble is relatively soft compared to today's high-strength concretes, so you're less likely going to glaze your diamonds. The bad news, dust, and lots of it. We set our 3/4 inch marble slabs into about a 1/4 inch of mortar, and our finished floor ended up around 5/8 of an inch thick. That means that we had to remove nearly 1/2 an inch of material across the entire surface. If you don't grind deep enough, you'll end up with bird baths and surface flaws that will haunt you forever. You can spend more time up front with lasers and surgical layout. No matter how careful you are, the grinding phase is massive. It needs serious machines and serious vacuums. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend this step to most DIYers. The gear alone, the grinders, the vacuums, the diamonds, they become the limitation. But once that first cut is done and the floor is flat and fully exposed, the magic begins. From there, it's a scratch-chasing game, pass after pass, finer and finer, until the dust turns into design. With the floor flattened, we move into refinement, the polish. We run through a sequence of finer grits, cutting back the scratch patterns from the metal bonds and slowly revealing the depth of the marble. Between stages, we apply a slurry, which is a blend of cement, fine marble dust, and color-matched pigment to fill every pinhole and micro void left behind from the grinding process. It's not glamorous, but it's essential. It's the step that turns a construction site into a piece of finished work. After the slurry cures, we polish again, this time to clarity. The stone pops, the contrast sharpens, and it goes from matte to movement. We finish with penetrating sealers and burnish the floor. And that's when it clicks. It's not just a floor anymore. It's a sculpture and a story.
Cut the stone, break it down. Pieces scattered all around. Set in place, one by one. Every floor a work of art when it's done. Palladian dreams, shining bright.